So good to see you guys. Excited that I think we've had 11 or 12 practices and we're making really good progress. I like to this point where guys are moving around in a lot of different spots. We're cross training guys at a lot of different positions. We're settling in, to an extent on if we were playing on Saturday, kind of how closely we're getting to get guys in those positions ready to go play. So be happy to answer anything that I can. And if I don't have the answer, I'll throw it the other way.
Yeah, I want to ask you about the DBs first. Looks like Darius was up with the ones for fastballs today. Maybe if you could talk about how many you think you'd like to play, who is shining at cornerback, and then what's up with Slusher from today.
Yeah, a lot of times with any of those positions on fastball, the way that we start practice, it's not necessarily our first group that we go out there the first time the ball snaps. So I wouldn't, at this point, I wouldn't be ready to name a starting group really at either of the corner positions because there's great competition that's going on. So we're rotating guys day by day and also in and out of periods. So I think there's some value in that. I think I learned a lot about some of the cross training work and subbing guys in over my experiences, but also especially in the COVID year. We really didn't know who we were going to have available at the end of the week. I thought it was smart for us to cross train and make sure, there's a comfort level when you're on the field and the guy lined up next to you've been in that environment before. So there's a little bit of that going on. I think as a collective group, they've made a lot of progress from where we left off in spring, the work that they did this summer with Jamil and his staff, and then the progress they've made through the first week and a half of camp, or almost 2 weeks now. I think there also has been, really good competition. And I think the group of receivers that we're going against, they've put us in an environment that's going to be really close to what we're seeing this year. We've got those guys on the other side. Coach Kenny Guyton and Coach Browse have done a nice job developing that course. So I'm excited about the group. I mean, you mentioned Day, he's played really well. Malik Chavis has played, he's still a guy that can rotate and play at a number of different spots. Khari Johnson is coming on and has had a really good, solid camp up to this point. Dwight McGlothern keeps coming. I mean, his reps were limited after practice 3, I think, because of he was out a couple of days with an injury, but making his way back and is making his presence known when he's out there, is doing a nice job. Hudson Clark continues to improve his skill set. His knowledge base is tremendous, and he's become a leader for us. So there's a lot of guys, and I know I started missing, and I'm probably missing somebody there at that spot, but I like the group. Coach Bowman's done a really nice job with them. I think they all have improved what their skill set is. They've all improved their knowledge of the defense, and that's one thing, with having a chance to be here for now going on year 3, which I'm so thrilled about. The guys have been in the system now, the guys that have been here going on, another opportunity to learn the defense. And I think coaching is teaching. You've got to be a great teacher. And, it doesn't really matter what I know. If they don't know it and can't go execute it, then it doesn't matter. So I've been able to throw a lot at them. We're doing more right now than we have to any point since I've been here. And it's because they can handle it. And it's a veteran group on the back end. And I'm sure excited about the progress they've made. The answer about Slusher, he was limited today, sore hip hamstring area. I would expect he'd be back tomorrow and be ready to roll.
Just the nickel spot. What did you see out of Trent today, and anybody else playing that besides?
Yeah, so at that spot, again, a lot of versatility. So Trent Gordon has played well. Ja'Cory Turner came back from an injury early on from the offseason. He came back and is playing well. Jaden Johnson has got reps there and did again today. So a number of guys are going to roll in there, and with Slush being out, that allowed those guys to get those reps. And it was something that, I'd be naive to think that we would go through a season and not have an injury. So I look at it as an opportunity for the next guy to get into that role and to step up and go play.
we don't get to see all of it, obviously, with 4 periods. But is Latavius Brennan, is he starting to play better football now? I mean, I saw him pick off a pass yesterday at practice. Seems like he's getting more comfortable, more knowledge of the system, maybe playing instead of thinking so much.
Yeah, I think so. And that's fair probably for any new player, right? You're going through a system and a schematic change and terminology and the way we practice. There was some carryover on our practice structure, it sounds like, on the place that he came from, but just, and he's playing a different spot than he did at Georgia. So I like the way that he's progressing, and I think he's going to help us play winning football.
Jaden Johnson, what are some of the things he does well to bring? I mean, he played last year's true
Yeah.
freshman. What does he do well?
I think it was important that he did play well last year at times for the experience on what it's going to allow him to do this year. He's confident, and I think that takes some time. He's got great skills. He's big and long and can run. He's got good quickness, got a really good football IQ. But then getting in the arena and doing it, those are that takes a little bit of time. And he's a mature competitor. I like the moves that he's made, and he can play a lot of spots. He can play any of the safety spots. He can play the nickel position. So that's going to help him and help us as a defense for sure.
Coach, I was been meaning to ask this for a while, but the fastball periods y'all do, what is the reason behind doing that? Like 4 quick plays and then getting out, and also sometimes you'll pull a guy who may be a more regular player. Is that just to get a look without that guy in there, see how you perform, or just
there's a lot of the thought and discussion that have gone into that that specific period, and I think there's a number of reasons that we do it here. And you look at the philosophy of the reason we're doing it. We need to start fast on both sides of the ball when we step into a Saturday afternoon. So that's one message that we've talked about, is trying to start fast on offense, start on defense, start on kicking. It also sets the tempo and the mood of practice, because you watch that and then we go to the first period of our individual drills, it's going at a pretty good clip, and that's by design. I think the more that we can put our guys in positions that it's as close as a game environment, the better we're going to be. And things are going to happen fast, and you're going to make a mistake at times. How are you going to respond to that? Their offense may complete one, and then you got to get lined back up and go play again, and it's going to happen quick. So there's a lot of different thoughts that go into it. That would be at the very surface level. That's kind of the reason we start that way.
And I hope you indulge me here, because you're going to want to say every single player, every wide receiver, but I'm wondering if you could tell me 1 or 2 guys that are maybe extremely difficult for you guys to handle, that are really jumping out to you.
Well, I said earlier, I think Coach Guyton and Coach Browse has done a great job developing that group. Every day I feel like there's another guy that kind of develops and emerges a little bit, just from either how they're running a route or making a play, making a clutch catch. Landers continues to impress. Not only has he got top end speed, his catch radius is, you get it close to him, and he's got, he's tall and long and can make plays. 9 and 84 continue to make plays, and also notice, bless you, also notice that those guys blocking, like today, I don't know if y'all were out there or not, for when we started to line up when perimeter drills. So it's all outside, plays, and it's one-on-one blocking, wide receivers, defensive backs. That's an attitude. And, I look at the way that those guys are competing in that, that's that group they've made us better for sure.
Question. I know Drew Sanders has moved inside, and you were a linebacker. So how hard is it for a linebacker to actually make that move, and what allows Drew in particular to do that?
Yeah, I think Drew's got a terrific skill set. He's tall and he's smart and can run. It's got great instincts, and he's quick. Some of the qualities that I never had as a player, but he's determined, and he's a fierce competitor. So you throw all those things in, and he wants to be great. And I think he's got a really good coach in Mike Shear. So those things, those combinations usually make up a pretty good player. And Drew continues every day to make progress and key reads. And it's hard. I mean, there's a lot of moving things going on, and your eyes got to be right. And especially in this system, we're counting on those guys to make a ton of tackles. And if your eyes are wrong, your on snap footwork, the discipline that it takes every play to do that, then we're not going to be as good on defense. So we're counting on him a lot, and that group to continue to elevate their game.
Coach, with Jaden Johnson started several games for you last year at nickel. Brini started games at nickel at Georgia, and then Slusher's a guy that's played a lot at safety in his career. But you've got those guys kind of flipped. Curious, what kind of is there certain skill sets they have that fit those positions better? Kind of what was the thought process?
Yeah,
there?
I think they all three can play that spot. I think you look always on trying to find ways to get your top 11 on the field and what that looks like, and then a lot of things that we do in our defense, they're mirrored positions. So one of our boundary safety positions is very, very similar to what we ask them to do at the nickel position. So depending on where they line up, there's a lot of carryover by position. And Slusher, I don't know if I went into this or not. I think he can play any position on the back end. And I think he's our best opportunity for us to be good on defense is right now for him to play nickel. He's very versatile. He can cover. He's good against the run. He has got a knack for blitzing, and those are all things that we want that position to be able to do.
Seems like Hudson Clark has made some strides in the man-man coverage, being able to stay on receivers better. Is that an accurate assessment, you think, so far on him?
Yeah, I think that's accurate, but I think they all have. Coach Bowman's done a terrific job with moving them all forward in that area on the fundamentals and the techniques and what it takes to play that position's hard. I mean, everybody knows if you're a man-to-man coverage, if the other guy catches it, well, that guy can't cover. Well, maybe not. I mean, he's pretty good shape, but there's some decent quarterbacks around and receivers. So we're going to continue to battle. We've got to be able to play coverage in that way. And I'm excited about the progress that he has made, but also the group.
Morning, Coach. There have been reports that you've been targeted by other schools in the off season since you've been here. Pittman has said that you've stayed for less money in some instances. I wonder, as you've weighed those decisions versus staying here, what has gone into your consideration, and why have you stayed?
Well, I think I've talked about this a number of times, and really my thoughts haven't changed. I love it here. I love the state of Arkansas. This university means something to me. I think it's important when you start into having an opportunity to build this. When we did with Coach Pittman, there's value in that to me personally. I think it fits me here. I think we've got tremendous athletic director support. I think we've got great leadership, and I really like working for Coach Pittman. Not only do I think he's a terrific leader, he's a great leader of men, and he's a great representative of our program. I'm always going to be very, very selective, and I don't need to go take a job just to say I'm going to take another one. I'm happy with where I'm at. I love coaching the defense. I really like our staff. It's fun to come to work every day, and I think that we're building something that is going to be sustainable for a long, long time, and I'm glad that I've got a chance to be a part of that. I think that we're just scratching the surface on some of the things that we're going to get done on defense and program wise. And I'm really excited to have a chance to be at the same place for 3 years in a row. That's hard to do anymore in these, kind of times. So also with that, my family loves it here. I've got a son that's going to be a senior in high school, a son that will be a sophomore, and a daughter that is a rising second grader, and she's full of energy and they're really, and my wife enjoys it, and they're healthy and they're happy, and I don't need to go take another job for my ego. I don't need that. I think anything that a student athlete wants to accomplish, we're going to get accomplished here, and I'm honored and privileged and excited to have a chance to be here year 3 working with Coach Pittman and for him.
3 a few times. I mean, how much does that go into your consideration? The fact that you
Say it again, I'm sorry.
You mentioned it being your 3rd year
Yeah.
a few times you've been here. Just being familiar with your personnel. And
Absolutely.
I mean, how big is that to you?
I feel indebted to my players. I mean, I feel I feel responsible for their development. I feel responsible for them to graduate from college, and to give them a consistent driving force on what a mentor is supposed to be. And I like coaching them. They like to practice. They want to be great, and there may be a time that something happens that you can't say no to, but I'm not going out and searching for it. I really like where we are, and I like, my players. I can't wait for 215, and we get a chance to see him again. And this is, you talk about being a coach, and a teacher and an educator. It's not just about football. It's about life lessons, about the opportunity to make an impact on young men from the age of when you start recruiting them until they graduate. And then hopefully you turn that into, the next 40 years of their life. And it can be one of the most rewarding things when done the right way. It can be one of the most rewarding things that a player or a coach has a chance to, the opportunities. I talk to our guys all the times about opportunities. We're creating opportunities every day. We're creating with football, we're creating with life, student athletes, the experience on the college level. I'm in a really good spot. And that means something to me. I feel really, really strongly about the University of Arkansas and our football program.
Got a pretty good idea why you guys did this today, but saw the defensive backs with boxing gloves on during the one-on-ones. Have you guys done that much in camp, and how do guys take to it? Because I think it may have cost Hudson a pick today.
Yeah, it's just an emphasis we felt like we needed to make. We've got officials at every practice, and you go back and review, the practice film. And if you're getting, you get tired, your habits, start to slip a little bit. And usually a defensive back, you're in man coverage, what's your first reaction? You want to grab a hold, right? So it was an emphasis we wanted to make today. I didn't think there was going to be a fight. We were getting ready for it, but I think it's something that's wise to do at a point, because it snaps back your attention and your focus on really your eyes, your feet, your stance, your start, and what that's supposed to look like. So that was one thing that I've done for a long time and seen done, and I thought it was important for us to kind of break that back out. So I can't argue the calls, on the side. It doesn't do me any good. So we're just going to try to fix it ourselves.
Had you guys done that much in camp this year?
Not this year. No, we hadn't. We've done it previous years. Yeah, for a number of years. So, it's day 12, and we're a little tired. That's the way it is. Camp's hard. It's supposed to be. And it's awesome though. So, trying to correct some mistakes and really focus on all the other stuff that I mentioned, with the techniques that it takes.
About how that drill with the boxing gloves went specifically today, what you saw out there.
Yeah, I thought it was good for us. I thought it, put us a little bit, made it more difficult for us, but also, and we get to teach off of that tape. And, we're going to start with stance. We're going to start with alignment. We're going to start with eye placement. And then you get into the angles that you're coming out of the breaks, where your eyes, is your chin down, and all the things that go into man-to-man coverage. Take the hands out of it, and we're going to teach everything else with that. So it'll be a beneficial thing for us to be able to teach off of this afternoon and into tonight.
Barry, you obviously added Deacon Dominic to the staff. What was it about those guys that made you want to hire them? And I'm sure Sam's, okay, obviously. And then how do you think it's worked out? What have they brought to the program?
Well, Coach Pittman makes all the hires, and so I was fortunate to be part of both of those. And I had known Dominique when I was coaching at Memphis. He was a high school coach in the city there, and met him however many years ago that was. Was impressed with him then, have kept in touch with him over the years, and kind of watched his career grow and move forward. He's a great technician. He's got a good football mind, but put all that aside, he's a great man. And it's great for our program and our university to have somebody like that's in position of leadership. And I'm excited for him. I've known Deke a long time, just from afar. I've never worked with him, recruited against him. I knew about him because he's been in our league. But the people that I knew that had worked with him, everyone basically said the same thing, and great reviews. And both of those guys have been huge additions. They've made me a better coach. They've made our defense better. and I'm sure excited I've got a chance to work with them. Just their football knowledge, their ideas that bring that either technique or schematically that helps us become a better defense. It's good to be able to get ideas. You know, you're always trying to grow, and if you don't, then you might as well cash it in. So you're over. So they've moved us forward, and I'm very grateful for that.
Bob stole my question a little bit there, Barry, but it was more about Deke. Just you've had a different, or Sam's had a different defensive line coach each season. Do you feel like Deke has kind of solidified that position? I mean, the players come in here and they seem really high on Deke, and they feel like they're learning stuff from them. They're extra complimentary of it.
Yeah, he's got a lot of experience, and he's a great teacher. And I think that he's, taking it really, you try to continue to recruit to what you're doing schematically, but also the fit to the program. Guys that come in, they take what the room is and they've got to put their stamp on it. And he's done that for sure. And I think, there's a lot of compliments that I could give what he does. He brings maturity. He's a veteran, and he brings that to work every single day. The players know what to expect. There's a standard on how he expects them to play, and he gives them the reason why. He's a tremendous teacher, a great person.
So in the spring, when we talked to you, you said you were running a lot of blitzes. You wanted to see who could blitz, what the packages look like, et cetera. And I think today you've mentioned that you found Slusher benefited from that. Sanders. Any other thoughts that you came out of spring with that you've employed in this camp on all that blitzing, and will you blitz more?
Yeah, we've been able to carry a lot into fall camp because they showed that they could do it. And then, now you've got to do it again in different situations. And I think we've got a core group that really understand when we call a pressure, if there is a weakness where it is the ball coming out quick, they get an understanding for it, and they've got an understanding for it. And they're a group that looks like they're veterans, and they've been in the system, and it's fun because we've been able to keep pouring things on them. We've got another heavy install going in tonight, and we'll go here the next few days with that, and then we'll start fine tuning on what we want to take into week one.
Ask you about the D tackles yet? With Carter out for a while, just what have you seen from that group? And you think Nico could add value in there too?
I think Deke's done a nice job with the group. Torian, with him being out for a little while, guys have had to step up. Terry Hampton, Isaiah Nichols, Eric Gregory, Nico's done a nice job. Marcus Miller was coming and, got a little setback there with an injury, but he'll be back. Cam Ball has made great strides here in the last 2 days. I think, 4 to 5 guys there that are set to play. And then, Nico is he's the one guy on the defensive side that we didn't have here, as an early enrollee. He's been in a practice situation for now 12 days, and that's it. And the progress he's made is a little surprising to me. I knew he's a great athlete, but just being able to carry over the habits that it takes at that position from the meeting room on the field, and then to apply it, it says a lot about him.
It's kind of a Malcolm Gladwell outliers question. I don't know if you read the book, but it's I'm curious, with you guys are basically full in recruiting for this next class, and with the calendar moving up and up and up, I'm wondering if it's difficult for you as an evaluator not to mistake maturity with talent, because you're recruiting players 25 class, 24, just so much younger.
Yeah, it's going faster and faster, as you say, and I don't think it's ever going to slow down. So you've got to have things that you believe in, your core philosophy and belief on what you're looking at in the evaluation process. And if you have that checklist and you really live by it, and you don't go off of things you hear or the rankings, or you really evaluate what you need out of that position, and you look at it and you do your homework, and you try to outwork people in recruiting, it can be done. You can find guys. I've made many mistakes. I have, but also look back on the mistakes I've made in recruiting with that. And there was a reason. There's always, that I knew it, and I said, well, he's good enough in this area or not. So I think you've got to be thorough. You've got to be hungry to recruit, because if you don't, you won't survive and you won't last. I mean, especially in this league. So, the evaluation process, if you can ever see a prospect live and in person, that's the best evaluator. And then you better do as much information seeking as you can, from assistant coaches to high school head coach, to the secretary, to the biology teacher, to everybody that you can. And then it's about relationship building, and you've got to be involved with their family in every which way, because that I look at it as recruiting as, I make promises in recruiting. I promise that they're going to graduate from college. Well, you better be able to uphold that and show them how you've done that in previous years. So recruiting has changed, but the evaluation process and the relationship building, I don't really know that part has changed. It's sped up for sure, and I'm seeing it in my own house in the recruiting process, how early it happens for some positions.
Different coaches have different ideas of what the coordinator should do in recruiting and stuff. But for you, 4 years at Missouri, head coaches aren't allowed to go out during the evaluation period. And then COVID hit. You're not, I guess, maybe 7 years or so for you since you've been out on the road. How did it
Yeah,
go
it was spring recruiting. As a head coach, you could go out every time except spring recruiting. So, I got that time on the road, so I was familiar with that. But the spring recruiting part, the evaluation, the summer camps, I mean, it was the 2020 year obviously is different for everybody, but I felt like, and I've learned a lot from Coach Pittman being here, and I've learned recruiting department structure on some of those things. But it's really, in a lot of ways, I've grown, and I'm a heck of a lot better coach right now than I've ever been before. And I say a coach, I'm saying a teacher, a recruiter, all the things that go into that. You learn from your experiences, and that you're gonna have setbacks, and you learn from those, and you continue to move forward. And in recruiting, I think we've got a pretty specific way that we do things here as a program, and I think it works. And I'm excited to have a chance to recruit to the University of Arkansas, because I believe in what we're about. I believe in what we've got going. It's pretty exciting.
I guess you guys are gonna have your last major scrimmage on Saturday. How big is, what are your thoughts going into that? And then how big will that be, maybe towards solidifying some of these
Yeah.
competitive positions on the depth chart?
Isn't it amazing? We're, Saturday morning, we'll wake up 14 days away. So with that, and as a defensive staff, we'll have a long discussion tonight as a staff on kind of what we want Saturday to look like. And I'm sure Coach Pittman's, given it a lot of thought up to this point. We'll talk more in detail tonight about that, and then we'll break off defensive staff wise and kind of see number of plays that we want each guy to get. You want to establish as close as you can your top 11, and then you want to establish who's the top 22. And really, you look at it at this point, if we were playing Saturday, who can help us in what positions play winning football, and who's ready to go do that. And then, it's always about creating the guy behind them that there's competition, but also getting them game ready. There's a difference between performing well in a scrimmage and then performing well on September 3rd in front of 78,000 people. So a lot of discussions have got to take place between now and the end of Saturday. We won't base everything on just Saturday's performance of that scrimmage. It's a body of work from when we started to through today. And then, there's guys like earlier was mentioned, Nico. You look at what he's done in the last 4 to 5 days. Think about where his progress and where he's going to be in the next 14 days. And the development of players is so hugely important to us having success on defense. So Saturday will be exciting. It'll be exciting to add that to the other 14 or 15 days, and then we'll start making some decisions from there.
A lot of your transfers are coming in from other Power Fives, OU, Alabama, LSU, et cetera. But Hampton comes from Arkansas State. No offense to them in the Sun Belt, but the guys that have come in here said, wow, this guy's an SEC caliber player. What have you seen from him? Has he surprised you at all? And I guess his strength is something everybody
Yeah,
talks about.
there's great players everywhere. And look at Ridgeway last year was at Illinois State, playing for the Cowboys now, and there's really good players everywhere. Terry has done a terrific job. He understands the scheme. He is strong. He's got great leverage, and he understands how to use it and play. He's got great get off, and so he's a huge addition for us inside, and really excited about. I think he can become a lot better than he is today.
Has been very vocal during practices. Has he always been that way? Has he always been a outgoing guy?
Since I met Sim, first got here as a walk-on and has earned a scholarship over time. He plays with a chip on his shoulder. He is going to be, if I can talk him into it, he is going to be an unbelievable coach when football's over for him. He's got a great understanding of the game. He's a terrific leader. He's got the passion and the competitive spirit of the way you're supposed to play the game. And I trust him. And you look at him and Catalan, the way that they talk on the field and communicate, they've got, have reached an elite level on what that's supposed to look like. And the great thing about Blair is he brings it every single day. You know exactly what you're going to get. I know at 2:15 when I see him, I know exactly what I'm going to get. He's the same dude every day. And he brings such terrific value to our program. Thank you guys. Great to see you.